Well, let's turn now to truth or fake. I'm joined by Catalina Marjorie who's over by the big board. Good evening, Catalina. A Trump ally facing insider trading probes. A big investigation. Tell us more about this. Basically, is it truth or fake?
Well, Mark, Democrats are actually calling for an investigation into Trump ultra-loyalist Marjorie Taylor Greene's purchase of stocks, accusing her of insider trading information during the recent market dip following President Donald Trump's announcement of sweeping global tariffs on April 2nd. The Georgian Republican is said to have benefited from the fall of global stock markets during the tariff turmoil, as users also claim investigate her for insider trading now. This as early on Wednesday, April 9th, Trump announced on his Truth Social, this is a great time to buy. Nearly 4 hours after this post, he abruptly announced his 90-day pause on many tariffs, which the move that sent the S&P 500 back up several percentage points in just a few minutes, marking a historic rally. As on social media on the same day, users posted this video from inside the Oval Office showing Trump celebrating the stock market's gains.
He made 900 million.
So as a user says, Trump brags about his friend and investor Charles Schwab, who made over $2 billion from the stock market chaos, as users say. Sounds like market manipulation to me.
Indeed. So what do public statements say about Marjorie Taylor Greene's financial statements in the days following Trump's tariff announcements?
Well, Mark, it's not too difficult to verify this information, as all American elected officials are legally required to disclose or publicly report every purchase, sale, or exchange involving stocks, bonds, commodities, future contracts, or other securities that exceed the amount of $1,000. So here's the one in question from Georgian Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a 3-page financial holdings document from April 4th that doesn't exactly disclose how much she paid for stocks, but discloses, for example, ranges and dates. Here you can see numerous purchases of securities made at, for example, Amazon, Apple, JP Morgan, Nike, Lululemon, Dell Computer. That amounts between $1,000 to $15,000. You can also see that the transactions occurred over the 2 days of stock market panic between April 3rd and 4th following Trump's tariff announcements on April 2nd. So according to an AP analysis, these companies that we see in Marjorie Taylor Greene's financial statement, including Lululemon, Dell Computer, Amazon, and Restoration Hardware, were amongst the worst hit companies by Trump's tariffs and were down 40% on average last week when the Republican conservative pounced on this deal. And it does seem that some of her bets did work out. Dell, for instance, has jumped 9% since she bought the stock last week after it lost more than half of its value, amongst others, including Restoration Hardware. So despite Greene clearly profiting from this market volatility following Trump's tariff announcement, there's no evidence actually to demonstrate that this MAGA supporter traded on non-public information, which would constitute insider trading, although there's also no denying that her timing is working out so far. When contacted for comment, one of her representatives said vehemently denied any wrongdoing, calling the whole thing utterly absurd.
We're supposed to believe that it's all a coincidence. So, will Marjorie Taylor Greene, or indeed Donald John Trump, face any consequences for what's happened?
Consequences, we don't know. It seems that Trump might have not much to worry about, any type of legal exposure following this post on his Truth Social on April 9th. How so? As you can see, he actually posted the information publicly to his 9.4 million followers. As legal experts say that generally this information is, if it's made public promptly, there's no room for insider trading issues. Also, who investigates insider trading? That would be the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Justice Department, both that are part of the executive branch, which are under the Trump administration, have been tightly controlled by the White House, making any prosecution, at least of the president, unlikely, as lawmakers from both parties have proposed bills banning Congress members from stock trading altogether. However, none of these bills have passed so far.
Catalina Marjorie, thank you very much indeed for that insight into alleged insider trading between the Trump administration. Some officials are all denied, of course. And the evidence, of course, remains to be sifted through, I think, in the longer term. But there we go. We've shone a light on what has been going on as the markets were crashing and some people were cashing in. Thank you, Catalina.